This week, I'm going to be reading 3 books that I think are going to be 5 stars. Yeet! Hey, hi, hello. Welcome back to my channel. I just realized I have a million holds from the library at all times, and 3 of them just came in pretty much today or yesterday, and so they're going to be the 3 audiobooks I listen to this next coming week. My physical book is something that's going to be for a secret TBR, so we weren't going to be talking about it anyways. And then I realized that all 3 of my audiobooks were 5-star predictions. Some of these I talked about in my 5-star prediction video that I made somewhat recently. I can't remember how long ago that was, to be honest. And some of these are not. It is Friday night, December 10th, and I'm going to be listening to these through the next week. First up, All of Us Villains by Manda. I've read other books by her, which I didn't love, but I have heard such amazing things about this book. I've heard it compared to The Hunger Games. Most of my life is me trying to find books that remind me of The Hunger Games. Next up is Skin. Yeah, I said that right. Skin of the Sea. It's a Black mermaid story. And then finally up, we're going to have The Marrow Thieves, which is like a indigenous voiced Native American story. I think I'm gonna start with that one, actually. I also just now realized how diverse this list was. I wasn't planning that at all, but that's awesome. I love when diversity is so fluid in my reading that I don't even mean to have it. It's just there because it means I've surrounded myself successfully by lots of different types of creators and authors and everything. Anyways, I think I might start with The Marrow Thieves because it's only 7 hours long, so I could listen to it a little bit tonight and then finish it up tomorrow, and we'd have one book knocked off first thing. I'll let you know what these books are about once I actually read them and understand what they're about, because let's be real, I know nothing going into a book. This was a weird intro. Good morning. Last night on my evening walk, I managed to listen to 35% of The Marrow Thieves, which was just a little bit over an hour on ×2 speed. And then on my morning walk this morning, I got to 64%. I'm really enjoying this book, and in fact I was going to come to talk to you about the reflection I had between the children walking through the woods to escape what they're trying to escape with my walking through the woods this morning, but something happened in the book just now that I don't even think I'm actually ready to talk to you about, to be honest, but I wanted to come in and let you know a midway update. Okay, so the Goodreads summary does have the spoiler that has happened at the 60% mark, which is that this is a futuristic dystopian society where all people except indigenous peoples have lost the ability to dream. White people specifically are harvesting the marrow out of indigenous people, and we are following a group of kids, and I think there's 2 elders traveling through the wilderness on the run. It's up in Canada. They were talking about how a lot of the cities have been destroyed and there's not much civilization left, and we're kind of following this main one boy as he is watching the group grow and shrink and change, and he's dealing with the fact that he had to watch his brother get taken, and he's having to deal with a lot, so many things that small children, I mean, I think he's a teenager, but so many things that he should not have to deal with at this age, and it's really enjoyable. In the you're watching atrocities happen kind of way that a book is just good. It's well written, the characters are well developed. I'm liking the book a lot. Before the past 2 chapters, I was it's probably gonna be a 4-star, but the past 2 chapters, something happened, and once I'm more okay, I'll probably talk to you a little bit about it without spoiling anything, but they convinced me that this might be a 5-star again. The story is told very non-linearly, which I have found is common in indigenous stories. I actually follow this creator on TikTok, and if I remember who it is, because right now I'm pulling a blank, I'll have it linked. She was talking about how she is indigenous, and she was talking about how indigenous stories are different from Western stories, and how a lot of white people, let's say, reading indigenous stories kind of don't get it because the stories are just not told in the same like rising plot, action, resolution, whatever. And so it's a lot of tangents, and it's a lot of non-linear stories, and it's a lot of like lessons and morals and stuff. And I'm seeing that reflected in this work, and I don't mind it. I think I'm gonna be at the point though when this finishes that I'm gonna wish it was longer and a little bit more developed. But also this book is made for, I believe, like late middle school age children, maybe even like early high school age. Maybe it is for like early high school. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I take that back. This book really is targeted for high school age students and able to have them learn about these atrocities and have it reflect the atrocities that have actually happened in our past, and to kind of show things that could happen if we don't remember and if we don't stick up for people who are minorities, right? So I understand that with that, trying to get a lesson, trying to get a high school age kid to read a book, short is good, like short and sweet to the point is kind of what you need. So I am keeping that in mind of like what the book is trying to be, not so much what I want the book to be when I go into my rating at the end. Right now, my family's about to pick me up and we are going to go to a pancake breakfast. My mom says that I used to go when I was a small, wee little baby person, but I have no memories of this. I just finished The Marrow Thieves and I'm pretty sure it's a 5-star. I'm like 99% sure I'm gonna rate the book 5-star. I'm gonna sit with like my feelings for about 5 more minutes and decide, but unless I come back to you later and say otherwise, this was a 5-star book. I really enjoyed the ending. It wasn't at all what I thought it was going to be. I was through most of the book kind of confused, like where is this book going? Because like I said earlier, like it's not a traditional rising action conclusion, whatever. So I was like, I don't know how this author is going to end this book because I don't understand the plot of the story. The plot of the story is survival. And there's not really an end to it when your main characters are being hunted for parts of their body. And when they are such a minority that this book wasn't about a revolution. It wasn't about our main characters like coming back at the white man or whatever you want to say. It was about them learning to survive and finding a family where they could have them and finding the joy in the moments that they could find joy and appreciating those moments. And it was about a dumb teenage boy having dumb teenage boy emotions in the apocalypse. I'm not going to spoil earlier what really made me emotionally connected to the book. I think that if you go into it, it's better that way for you just to not know what's coming. I don't know what book I'm going to be reading next. I am going to take a little bit of a break right now from audiobooks and do some stuff. But once I'm done with that stuff, I'm going to start prepping some meals. So I will be listening to an audiobook then. I'm kind of leaning towards Skin of the Sea, but we'll see what I decide to pick up. Hi, welcome to my car. I don't vlog much in here anymore ever since I got a camera. It's Sunday morning. I didn't sleep well last night. I think I got 5 hours of sleep. a mixture of my body having health issues and my neighbor being the loudest person I've ever lived next to. I have started Skin of the Sea. I started it last night and I only listened to a chapter and I really wasn't getting into it, so I put it down and I went on TikTok for a few hours, as one does. I then this morning picked it up and I've listened to 2 more chapters and I'm really not feeling it. I can already tell you right now that I won't be rating this book 5 stars. I am gonna keep going. Normally, if this was just like a normal weekly reading vlog, I'd be like, I'm not feeling it, here's my reasons, and I would DNF it. But I think I'd like to get a few more chapters in to give it a real honest shot, because something I've learned with myself is when I say that I don't like plot, or I feel like the plot is lacking in a book, what I'm really actually feeling and what I've started to learn is that I'm not invested in the characters. I don't like the characters enough for them to stand without like an objective. And right now I'm not seeing a clear objective and I'm not liking the character, so I'm just not feeling it. The book is told in first person perspective, which I've said before on my channel is not my cup of tea. I don't really care for it. And it reminds me a hell of a lot of The Deep by River Solomon, which I DNF'd because I didn't like the writing style of that book. And this book has a very similar writing style to that. And I decided to DNF The Deep because I felt like if I finished it, I was just going to rate it poorly. It's not what I was expecting, I guess. It's not super like YA fantasy, that like stereotypical easing writing that you expect from those types of books. And you know what? Not every single book needs to have that or needs to be that, but it's what I was expecting and it's not what I'm getting. And I also realized that I don't think I've ever read a mermaid book before in my life, so I don't know why some part of my brain was like, yeah, this is gonna be a 5 star. I just picked up a few items that I forgot to pick up on Friday night so that I can make some food today. So I'm gonna go home and meal prep, and then I have to film a video, which is really exciting. And then I'll update you with what I finally decide to do with this book. Yes, one of the main reasons I went to the grocery store this morning is because I don't own any caffeine and I'm not about to function today on 5 hours of sleep. It's good. Okay, let's go talk about what this book is about now. Am I standing really close to you or am I zoomed in? Oh, we were zoomed in. Let's talk about what this book is about first before I tell you the fact that I'm gonna DNF it. So, Skin of the Sea is about a black mermaid who has been tasked by like the head mermaid. They're not called mermaids in this book. I've heard this word used before and I'm forgetting it right now. Mami Watas, which I believe is a West African word. I don't know from which language. That basically means mermaids, but I think they also have the included task of also bringing the souls of anyone who dies at sea to like their resting place. I'm not 100% up to date on Mami Wata's significance in mythology, so I don't know if that's true or not, but it is in this book. So our main girl, I don't remember her name, cheers. She is a Mami Wata. She used to be a human. I don't know how she died, but she died, is now a mermaid-like being and is at sea, and her job is to all of the specifically slaves who have died at sea and thrown overboard, she is supposed to return their souls to a happy resting place. A boy is thrown into the sea and he isn't dead, and normally she's supposed to kind of allow him to die and then take his soul, but for whatever reason she decides to save his life and she pulls him up on shore, and then he seems to know way too much about her world and is kind of calling a request to talk to like the gods of the world. And these gods are, from what I've read in the summary, that's where I'm at, but the summary says the gods kind of get angry and start punishing people, and our main character has to go on this journey of redemption to save her Mami Wata people. Okay, so I've already kind of explained to you why I'm not enjoying this book, which it really does boil down to the writing style is not what I thought it was going to be. I do think that there are some very specific people who would enjoy this book. I went into it expecting it to be a lot more like Kebab, but it wasn't. And Kebab, let's be real, is very westernized, is very Americanized version of a West African story. I'm not throwing any shade there. What I am literally saying is that the way she wrote the book, of which I love, Kebab has a writing style that is easy and familiar to American audiences. And so I'm gonna DNF it. I am. Big shocker there. No one's told you in this video once that I was gonna DNF that book already. So that puts us at the place where out of the 3 books I'm reading this week that were 5-star predictions, I have one that is a 5-star and one that is like a 0-star, I guess you could technically call it. That leaves me with one more book for this video, which is weird because it's Sunday and I wasn't expecting this video to go so quickly. Happy Tuesday. It's morning. I just started my next audiobook. I took the whole day off yesterday of reading via audiobook and it was kind of nice. I don't really ever do that. I've started the next book in this series, which is All of Us Villains, and it's not gonna be a 5-star. I'm honest to God contemplating DNFing it. For the sake of this video, I'm gonna try to push through. I'm only like 8% into it, I think. Yeah, I'm an hour into it, so I'm gonna give it a few more hours. I'm gonna try to get to the competition trial section, and if that is not piquing my fancy, then I'm gonna DNF. Here's what this story is about, and then I'll tell you why I'm just not vibing with this book. Every generation there is something called a blood moon, and when the blood moon appears, they start this trial where these 7 families give up one of their children and they fight to the death, and the person who they said who walks out with the most bloodshed, so I'm assuming not everyone has to die, just whoever like has killed the most people wins. Their family gets control of, I don't know if it's all the high magic or most of the high magic or whatnot, and it means that they're like going to be really powerful for the next 10 years. We're following 4 different characters. I've met 3 of them so far. I'm in chapter 3, and we have one from a family who his family has like almost always won. We have one from a family who almost never wins. And then we have one from a family who has never won. It's interesting because it's kind of about them training and preparing and stuff. The reason why I'm not vibing with this book is because it is a contemporary fantasy and I was not ready for that. So far, we really haven't had a focus on magic, but the little magic that we have had has been all based around like curses and spells and like trinkets. And I've learned that I tend to not care about magic so much when you have to have like an item with you to do said magic, but I think that it's going to get a little bit more complex than that, so I'm hoping. But yeah, it's contemporary, so there are people with like cameras, there were reporters. I don't know why, like when that was in the Hunger Games, I was like, okay, fine, I like this book. But I'm not digging it here. It kind of, this is gonna be weird to say, reminds me of like the same amount of technology as in The Selection, where like some people have and some people have not. I think I could have gotten past that, 100% I could have gotten past that, because I've read other books with contemporary settings and enjoyed them if I liked any of our characters. I can't stand them. And I understand like they're all villains, they're all supposed to be unlikable. I love me a good villain. I think that one of my favorite books of all time, if not my favorite book of all time, is Vicious, where you're quite literally following 2 villains. And I love how unlikable both of our characters are in that book, and I really I vibe with them. But there's something about this book where like they don't really feel like they're vicious. They don't really feel like they're doing bad things. So I'm hoping when we get to the trial, I'll actually see people doing like malicious shit at each other. I'm also like really confused about what the age any of our characters are at and what the age demographic of this book is. The writing feels very young and YA, but our characters themselves feel older than that. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep going and try to figure that out, but I'm just letting you guys know now, this will not be a 5-star. Hi, it's later that same day. I finally got home, just showered. I'm about to sit down and chill, but I have an update for you all. That book was a bust. I made it to 35%, which is kind of disappointing because they were literally walking into the arena and I DNF'd the book. But I went and read some reviews online, and based on what people were saying, I wasn't going to enjoy the trial part of the book any more than I was enjoying the non-trial part of the book. It basically boils down to a few things. I couldn't get into the story mainly because I was having a really hard time understanding the magic system and how it worked. I didn't like any of the characters like at all. There was one that I tolerated, and it was the fourth character, the one I hadn't got to talk to you about yet this morning. But even her, I like wasn't in love with. I found myself like skipping whole chapters, especially the two boys, Alistair and Gavin, because I was like rolling my eyes. Like I couldn't stand them at all. I just kept thinking about how miserable I was reading it, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna DNF 2 out of the 3 books for this video, but who really cares? I'm gonna spend some time tonight thinking about if there's a 4th book out there that I could get my hands on like right now to read that's a 5-star prediction. And I guess I'll come back to you later this week with whether or not I was able to successfully do that. Why did I think I was gonna come back in this video? As I was saying it in the last clip, I was thinking, what am I doing? Why am I saying I'm gonna try to read something else and come back to you all? That didn't happen. This is the end of the vlog. I hope you all had a good time. It was a relative fail, but to be honest, reading in general is not a fail, so I succeeded, right? Out of my 5-star predictions, I had 3 of them, right? One of them was a 5-star, and then 2 of them were DNFs. They were very different types of DNFs. When it came to Skin of the Sea, I can clearly say that I see the book has potential and merit, and that it would be good for certain people, and that certain people would love it, and I would recommend it to people I know. When it came to All of Us Villains, it genuinely wasn't good. I know that lots of people love this book, so I can see from Goodreads that this is just a me thing. If I didn't know what everyone else was thinking and rating this book, I would have said right here, this is genuinely not a good book. I don't recommend it. Don't go check this one out. I have watched a few reviews, and it's interesting because a lot of the people are saying how I was feeling, which basically boils down to the characters aren't villainous enough, the magic's a little bit odd, and then like the characters just, you can't get into them. But these people are also then going and being like, yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. And yet I was here like struggling to continue on with the book at all. Ignore all of my ratings, read whatever the hell you want, and continue on with your day knowing that nothing matters and we're all gonna die. Anyways, this has been fun. I have nothing else to say in this video. Let me know down below a 5-star prediction for you, and maybe I'll check it out if I haven't read it yet. That'd be fun. That'd be really fun. I don't remember how my outro goes, but until next time, I'll talk to you in the comments. Bye.